today with two of San Angelo's brightest, Scott Motl and Mary DeLaughter. And they have both applied, been accepted, and already gone to a long-term process and project in Washington, D.C. And it is called the Presidential Classroom, which Scott has on the shirt. And this lovely young lady today found out she got a full scholarship to Abilene Christian, and I know that she and her family are bursting with pride. What a huge deal. Now, what I'm so interested in our audience knowing is I know you had to write an essay, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that, but in a few seconds I want us to get right to why would you recommend, and do you recommend this to parents for them to encourage their student, their child to do. So talk to me about the essay. What was the topic you had to write in order to be chosen to participate in the Presidential Classroom?
Wasn't it more like a questions, like
there were several
short answer
questions that we had to answer, and they just basically asked why we would be interested in a project like this, and why what we would be able to benefit ourselves and the community after we came back.
As well as like future goals and where we're going to school, stuff like that, and if we have those plans and what this program would mean for those plans.
And they went on different weeks because different weeks are talking about different themes. And Scott, tell us about the major theme of the week you went.
Our theme was Science and Technology Week, sponsored by Honeywell, which was a big kind of invention company. And it just dealt with, we had a bunch of on-site seminars with some of the research laboratories, and they rented out the entire Air and Space Museum for a night for us, and we got to go in the IMAX, got to listen to an astronaut speak to us, and it was a really great experience, especially since I'm interested in the engineering and being an astronaut and all that. It was just really enlightening to experience all that.
And he just mentioned, or alluded to, he wants to go to Texas A&M and then come and study aerospace engineering.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that week was particularly interesting, and what I learned is that was one of the largest weeks. There were 400 or so.
There were over 450 kids.
Young people there, wow. And one of the things that I've learned over the years, it's a very strict behavior is expected to be professional. You dress in Sunday attire the whole week, which is I've seen groups in the Presidential Classroom move around Washington, D.C. when I've been there, and it makes anybody proud of our young people because you all look so sharp. And Mary went to a much smaller week under what theme?
Under Global Health and the Environment.
And why did that interest you, Mary?
Well, back in November when we applied, I was really interested in going and possibly being a medical missionary. And so learning about global health and all of the diseases that are around the world and that are, we have cures for them, but we can't necessarily get the needs to all those people. And that was definitely a huge topic at this seminar. And so that piqued my interest. And then the environment, I learned so much about energy and the energy crisis that we're in, and global climate change, and things that I can actually apply to my life right now and make a difference.
Do you think, project yourself to being out of college, are you far enough, days far enough from this experience to internalize how being in our nation's capital for that week, being with some of the brightest young people in America who are interested in a similar topic. How has that changed your view of what you might contribute to make your world better?
Right, and it's actually, it's not just American. My roommates were actually from Puerto Rico, one from Puerto Rico and one from Germany. So there were many international students there as well. But definitely being in Washington, D.C., and because it's such a powerful city, and having all those people, I mean, I do have some good friends that I still talk to from our group that we traveled around in all week. And just knowing those people and staying in touch with those people, I mean, we're thinking about a reunion already. And I think that really helps with networking and all that. And after college, you can mention that, hey, I was in a presidential classroom, and likelihood of someone else being a presidential classroom scholar or a counselor or something like that, you know, is a pretty good chance. And then it's a respected program, and you can reach a lot of things through that.
It is a very respected program. You're correct. What about you, Mary?
Well, I just know that like the lifelong friends that I made from this program were definitely rewarding, and just the knowledge that I'm going to take. The motto of Presidential Classroom is challenging the leaders of tomorrow, and that was such. It's so true because they definitely put us to the test. We had to do a project over. My project was over stem cell research and just whether we should propose to continue stem cell research or further it, and so we did an essay and just researched the stem cells, and there was 4 projects in the whole seminar, and so just learning about topics that are so relevant to this world, and knowing that there are people out there who are going to take charge and really just forward what needs to be done in this world is so rewarding, and knowing that I may have met a few of them is a really neat experience.
There is no doubt that the leaders, these young people, will go back to their states or country, and after college and grad school, most of these young people I have found end up going on to some form of grad school. They are going to be, you all are a part of that group that's going to be the leaders of our country and of our world. It's unusual for a second semester senior in the midst of all that's going on your senior year, because there will never be another time in your life except your last year in college that you are at the closing gate of one phase of your life and the beginning gate of another very exciting, for you two young people, part of your life. You've, during this semester, been thinking locally. I'm finishing my classes. What have I got to wind down? I'm looking forward to this next phase of my life. Now you, unlike most of your other friends, got a window of not just local, and you going to stay, both of you staying in Texas but going out of town to college, but you got a national view crammed into this busy senior semester. I would hope that what your parents contributed, sacrificed for you to get to go and have this experience, that you will at some point not let those, how important this global view will be for you as a young leader. Is there any part of it that makes you, for the first time, really think outside of San Angelo and maybe even Texas? Particularly outside of Texas. Anything happened there that made you think outside of Texas?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Like Mary said, the international students, they were completely different, had completely different views. And the motto is challenge the leaders of tomorrow. And we had crossfire sessions, and what those were is you had a group of, in ours it was like 30 or so people in a group, and it's different people than you've been traveling around with all week, so they're new people to you. And the counselor that was overwatching it guided the discussion, and he or she gave you the topic, and the group debated about that topic. And I found my views being challenged, and my views even changing because of certain topics and thoughts that were being brought in from the North or Europe or Puerto Rico and all these things. And it's just enlightening to see all those different viewpoints and to have your views changed by others.
Well, it says a lot about you, and you probably didn't intend or understand it at the time, that you will admit and understand that you changed or modified some of your views of some issues. Some young people your age, some people my age, get very set in our ideas. And I'm not talking about our values, but I'm talking about our ideas of why are we at war, or is there really global warming? And we get very set either because of our parents' views or a teacher we really like, their views. And to hear these other folks have arrived at their thoughts and philosophies and come to different conclusions. And for you to admit that you were open to their views really states an awful lot about you. Mary, did anything else during the week help you look outside of Texas to what's important in our world?
Well, the people that we got to meet with, or the people who spoke in the symposium, we had a symposium in our one of our sessions, and just the intelligence, and we met with people who are actually in the government doing things today to help either the environment or something along those lines, and to hear them speak, and it was such an honor to learn. They had so much knowledge, and the fact that I was there listening and able to just broaden my mind and be able to just really just experience that for the first time. Because I mean, how many times do you get to sit and listen to someone in the government like that?
Especially a young, well, not many citizens do.
No, and it was definitely really awesome to be able to do that.
Did you said the students, the international students, had very different ideas. But if you look at them as a whole, and yourself as a whole, as a young person about the same age, are you more alike or are you more different?
Definitely more alike.
How?
Just to the first day, get to know your roommates. I mean, I was the first one in our room, but I hop on the bed and turn on. We had some free time. Turn on the TV. Turn on Sports Center, and my roommates start coming in, and we start talking about the sports that are going on, and one of them's interested in baseball. One of them's interested in soccer, and we just got to talking, and it's just. We're all interested in the same kind of things, and it was nice to see that, and to know that. I mean, even if we do have different views about some things, we're all interested in being ourselves and being able to express our views freely, and it's just a rewarding experience to get to know those people.
Did you get homesick?
Towards the beginning of the week, I was finding myself just exhausted. I mean, we were up from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, and then and just going all the time. So I found myself exhausted by the end of the day, and I wanted to be home in my own bed. But by Friday, and I was leaving Saturday morning, I didn't want to leave because just the bonds that I had made with these people were, because they had just finally started getting really, really strong, and I missed them terribly. So yes and no on that question.
Good answer. What about you?
Same here. I mean, they keep you extremely busy. You're constantly going and going from the moment you wake up until the time you go to sleep, and there's really no time to be homesick until you hit the pillow at night and think about your day and man, I wish I was home in my own bed, but you only had a week, and as the week went by, you found yourself, wait, well, I don't really want to go yet, and it was a little bittersweet there at the end. You got to go home, but these people are very far away from you after you leave that place. So,
well, that's a little taste about what it's going to be like going to college. You will have some absolutely phenomenal experiences and develop new friends, and yet there will be moments possibly that you will wish you were at home, getting a home-cooked meal and in your own bedroom. What I would wish for you, as I bet your parents the same, is that you try not to forget to be open-minded when you are going through your college years, your graduate school years, about how when you meet people that are very different in your different colleges, but how really down deep you probably, if you got to know them as well, you got to spend time with them like y'all did. You were together, you ate together, you walked many miles together in D.C., or you don't see D.C., and the longer you were with them and had those discussions, you realized you had a lot more similarities than differences. You mentioned, Mary, that you all did a project. Did you do one?
yes, ma'am.
Did you do it individually or with a cluster of other young people?
With a cluster, probably about 20 in each group.
Ours were 40 because we had such a large group, but it's the same group you traveled around in to the on-site seminars and all that throughout the whole week. So,
did you find that some of your team members were contributors and some were detractors?
For me, it was so rewarding because I was with a group who everyone wanted to contribute, and to be in a group like that, who everyone wants to do their part, it was such an experience that I've never experienced before, because there's always been a couple who have never, who just want to sit and let other people go by. So that we had awesome leadership in my group, and so that was something that I will definitely never take for granted.
Good. What about you, Scott?
I'm going to say that's the same for me too, even though we did have a much larger group than they did. It was a little harder for everyone to try to do something in that. But I mean, we split into groups and had a leader for each group inside of our own, they call them caucuses. But that enabled us to really get our opinions out. I mean, we had people that were wanting to do all the work, but I mean, we were right there by them and helped them do it all until we were done. And it was just a really great experience to be in a group, such a great group of kids that all really want to work hard since they're there.
Well, don't forget what you have learned from this project, and I hope you're sharing this information will help parents to nudge their seniors to take time out of their busy senior year to have this kind of rare opportunity. Don't you think you're better people for having gone through this? Way to go. Thank you all for coming and visiting with me. You've helped me to understand this project a little better. Thanks.
No problem.